I got to be real careful.
I fought this case. I did, didn't I? And he was like, "Nah, man, it's going to be good."
Oh, no. I'm going to elbow that fucking camera.
Well, your hair was in front of it the whole time. So. We'll see how it goes. All right. Welcome to Between the Joints.
Welcome to Between the Joints with two assholes. This is the first podcast in the studio space.
This is the first podcast in the Coding Central studio space.
AKA my bedroom, the guest room.
Madden does come here to sleep. To be fair, the couches are comfy, another selling point.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
You got to cut in that picture you took of me while I was sleeping.
Oh, yeah. I'll send it to Justin. He'll put it up.
Creep. What a creep.
He's just sitting there watching us. It makes me feel uncomfortable. What's the dude on Joe Rogan? Jamie.
Joe Rogan?
Hey, Jamie. No. The helper. The helper guy's Jamie.
Jamie, Google that.
Yeah.
Google that, Jamie.
Jamie, pull that up. That's not the right one. Yeah. All right. So the theme of the evening, because we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Which way do I look?
I don't know.
The
Right
theme
here.
of the evening.
Right here.
Right there. Oh, boy.
There you go.
The theme of the evening is Coding's College. What is it? Right? So tonight we're going to talk about, and it is 12:15 in the morning. This is the first shoot of this podcast, and I think it looks beautiful, Justin, don't worry. We're going to talk about Coding's College. What is it? We're going to talk about the Bulletproof Artistry team, kind of how that was formed, who's on it. We're going to talk about online etiquette.
Why would you pick me for that?
No. And then we're gonna discuss what we have coming up with Coding's College over the next, I guess the first semester, if you will, our first cohort. So
Let's go.
we'll welcome our guest. I say our. We'll welcome my guest, Madden Wolf. Your hand was in the seat. Hands in the way. Madden Wolf comes to us originally from South Carolina.
Yeah, born and raised till I was 21.
And then
Is it closer?
that's it. That's where you want
my
it.
God.
And then moved just, I guess you're north of Scranton right now?
I'm in the general vicinity of Scranton. That's honestly, even after being there for 10 years now. What year is it? Yeah, about 10 years. I still unless I'm in my house, and that's just because I'm so aware of the sunrise and sunset. I couldn't tell you if I'm
Which
north,
direction?
south, whatever.
Yeah, so, I realized lately, after going to the Tool and Coheed and Primus and Mastodon show and diving down a rabbit hole, because that's what I do. I fixate on things, and then I learn all about them.
That's called ADHD.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I learned that, Pennsylvania houses a lot of artists, man, and it's a lot of rock artists specifically come from Pennsylvania, and I didn't realize the absolute amount of.
It's a lot.
It's crazy, man.
And what's really cool is so much of it is focalized in Northeast Pennsylvania because it is what's the best way to put it? It is an absolute shithole. It's awful. It's like a black hole. It just has this energy to it. You feel it. It's heavy and it wants to grab onto you and just drive you down as much as it can. So some of the most talented tattoo artists I've ever seen are right there. Some of the biggest bands in the world are literally right there. And it's you either, do something really, really well and use it to escape, or you're just kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
Luckily, I wasn't born there, so I don't have the curse.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Maine, not quite as north, but, as is to Maine, such Stephen King. I think that these cold, dark places, they bring out the art in people, the creativity in people, if you will, because how else are you supposed to escape an 7-month-long winter and gray skies? And
So
man,
bad.
I'll tell
I
you.
hate it.
So yeah, I think I've only been through Pennsylvania. I've never been to Pennsylvania. And I definitely can understand the general picture that I think we're trying to convey, which is you need some color in your life up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found Virginia as an adult. I actually lived here when I was a kid, but I came back. And what I like about this place is, there's a lot of opportunity here, but most importantly, everything's within an hour. You have mountain within an hour, the city's within an hour, beaches a little over an hour. It's a beautiful place, man, and I think it houses a lot of beautiful minds. But most importantly, I see a lot of people in our area that like it's a big melting pot. So a lot of people network and make connections here, and I think that there's a lot. You and I got into an early discussion when we first started talking about ley lines, and I had never like looked into ley lines, and it's actually pretty incredible. And the history that repeats itself over these ley lines too,
Right.
would tell you that Fredericksburg, while a bountiful place that people network, people also clash, and there's been multiple wars, through this area all the way back to the indigenous Native American times. It's a bizarre place, but it's absolutely beautiful. And that's where Coding Central is in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's like 30 minutes south of DC, 30 minutes north of Richmond. You can fly in here and be with us in a 30-minute drive from the airport. So, how did we find each other? So the Bulletproof Artistry team was it was a concept and a vision that I had that I wanted to bring everybody together for the greater good. And I think for me, it was a way to kind of have our own little club. We all had, I don't know, I saw this team before it was assembled, and I really wanted it with a couple of specific people. I first saw your pieces. I don't even remember how I came across the first piece that I saw from you.
This is the forum, the group, the Facebook.
It was
epoxy
probably
and polishing.
the Facebook forum or something, but I think I even saw it floating around. It was that Labradorite piece.
No,
Which
nope,
one was it?
definitely wasn't that.
Which one was it?
There was that bar top I did. It was like that really natural, like
Yeah,
just
that was
straight,
yeah.
like it's very neutral, but like these warm, earthy tones.
Yes, it had that. Yeah, that might have been it. Either way, I saw your work, and I was like, "Holy
And
smokes!"
because I had finally posted in the group
Mm,
because like I laid low for so long.
yeah,
Like, because to be completely honest, like there's a reason why I even go under Madden Wolf online. Like that's not my real
it's
name.
his name. Don't let him fool you. It's his name.
Yeah, it's not. My real name is. I'll finally say it here. It's Raul. Raul Duke.
Get used to it, internet, because Mad Wolf is no longer. We're out. We are Raoul Duke. So Raoul, I saw your pieces. They were absolutely beautiful. What obviously, if you're on these forums, you'll see a lot of the same wash, rinse, repeat techniques that become very played out. You'll see kind of more creative things on the artisan markets.
Mhm.
Like there's countertops out there that are cool, and people do cool, river tables, but there's something about your style and your technique that immediately it just grabbed my eyes. I couldn't. And then I watched you for a little bit. I think as everybody does, you kind of weirdly stalk online. And then I think the first time we ever talked, it was like 3:30 in the morning.
I
Right?
remember the first time we ever interacted. Period.
What was it?
Derwin had posted that he was using a top coat, DSD, right? And for the longest time, I was trying to figure out what the fucking top coat was, and it was like this guarded thing, probably behind like a paywall, so to speak. And I just kept trying to figure it out, and then eventually I figured out it was ballistics. And I was in quite a few different groups on Facebook, and I spent so much time just laying low because I mean that was what 2022,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, towards the end of 2022, um, I finally made a post in the, oh no, actually there was somebody had shared a picture of Derwin's work and was like asking in one of the forums, like, you know, how was this done? Because it was something outside, right? Even closer.
That's
Good
it.
Lord.
That's right where you want it.
It was like it was something that was outside, and they were talking about like, oh, it's gonna yellow, it's gonna do this, blah 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 blah, and then you hopped on there and you were like, no, this is under whatever product this under.
It had been out there for a couple of years, I think, too.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah,
the one I was thinking about.
and at that point, I figured I was like, oh, this is the guy. Like he has the top coat, So, um, like you said, just like anybody does online, it's like I send you a friend request. I kind of like crept around and like looked at, everything that you were doing, just in all these different groups and forums and everything. And at first it was just top coats, and like even like seeing the line for the first time, like trying to figure out the names. Obviously, like there's that military motif to them,
Hmm.
but like just looking at the names and trying to figure out what would be what. Just like looking for more and more
And
information.
man, that was like the biggest part of the evolution and progression with ballistics because I was super passionate about it. So when we developed it, I did. I named it after my father's career with the Marine Corps. So Squire is my father's call sign. Obviously, NCO does its duties as a non-commissioned officer, the whole line. But when I was passionately growing it, I was like, I need a product for this, and I need a product for that, and
Hmm.
and next thing you know, we had 12 SKUs, and everybody was like, well, how do I do this thing?
It
So
was overwhelming.
yeah, and it was, man, so that was part of the evolution and growth of the product. But yeah, so you saw that, I guess we connected, but it was like 3:30 in the morning, I think the first time we'd ever
The first
talked.
time we like really spoke, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was a point where there was like some more interactions and comments and stuff, and it was the infamous pool night where you were just kind of
I
telling
was
off
letting it
the
have it.
entire fucking industry, and like like you have this heart of gold, and it genuinely wants the best for everyone, even people that bring an opposition or problems. That's one of the things that I love about you is like you just genuinely you care, you do care. And a lot of people, they can't stand that because it makes them realize how rotten they are themselves. They just hate it because it's like they can never be that. And dealing with the type of people that this industry brings, like they were right up on you. They were just like piling on just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And you had finally had it one night, and you just kind of like walking around your pool, just like letting it all out. And like when I was seeing it happen, I'm just like, oh man, like he's hurting. Like I felt it. Like just watching, I was like, this
Oh,
man
it's so
hurts right now.
frustrating, man. Because I don't have a malicious bone in my body. When we brought the product to market and it started doing well, there were people out there that wanted it. And we told them no,
Hmm.
because like, for instance, in Pennsylvania, I had a small, kind of little distributor. He also installed, but he really wanted the product bad when it first came out. And he was the first one to fork out money in a purchase order.
Right.
And I went and I said, look, man, I've got your back. And there was another person in Pennsylvania with a series of stores that called and said, give me that product. I'm going to take it all the way down the East Coast. This is what and I said, look, man, I can't. Like I gave it to, distributor A and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to, break my word over something like that. I don't care if you can bring me millions of dollars. And that was part of, the evolution of ballistics. But that whole situation was just an attack from a lot of people online that worked or associated with, uh, competing distributors.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we're hated double by these folks because not only do we compete on a distribution level, but we compete on a manufacturing level. So when folks started first responding to that and, kind of wanted to push us out and not see us do well, we got a lot of hate by a lot of people. And it does suck because I came into an industry that, otherwise, I earned my way into hard surface when I was younger. I kicked carpets, I laid hardwood and tile for a number of years, but the polishing industry specifically is what I kind of dove headfirst into. And it's a very shut off world. And, folks just didn't want to see me do well. Who is this, glorified nurse that came in the polish industry? And, how did he get his product on every shelf in 6 months? And, so yeah, I mean, I had it. So I did. I had a little rant,
Yeah,
and,
it was a good one.
it turned into folks saying that I was trying to show off my pool, and that wasn't the case. What I said when
I
I was,
did sit there and watch that video and go, fuck, that's a nice pool. Like, oh, that's the back patio. There's a back porch above the back. Fuck,
yeah, but
it's a
that wasn't
nice
the point.
house.
The whole point of it was like, hey, look, if you stopped all the hate and the negativity, you could have something like this too. Like, you don't have to sit there and bag on me and hate on me for trying to do something good and innovative.
That just means you're doing something right.
Yeah,
That's all it means.
man, and I have heard 20 variations of that along the years, right? Because
Yeah.
people, they're like, "Oh, don't worry about it, man. You're doing the right thing." It's like I don't need to make friends, but on the other hand, the whole entirety of evil in this industry came after me, man, and it was for God knows what reason, but I was literally just
Succeeding.
trying to do right by other people, and it turned into wars. I saw ballistics create wars between distributors and break up friendships, and it was like all of a sudden I saw this mass chaos when it blew up, and it kind of just reminded me, that society strives for perfection, but more so, it's easily swayed by greed and money and territory, and I watched this product, and I had so many nights that I'd sit there and be like, where did all of this come from? Because I never expected the product to take off like that. I just had an idea. When I came into this industry, I did this kind of baseline gap analysis, and I figured out that I wanted to know what was the biggest area of opportunity in my market, and then what was the biggest area of opportunity in the industry. So obviously, my market was distribution and supply, and we realized, look, we needed to pop this, and then the industry was ballistics. I wanted something. I'll never forget. It was me and my father-in-law Joe. We were rolling a floor out in Richmond, Virginia. It was an old, eggshell build out, like paint it white, seal the floor, get out of here. And they're paying good money for grinding seals like that. So we're in there just grinding out this old, this like layers and layers of elastomeric coating, and we ground it all out. Ground, not grinded. While I got the camera,
Grand.
and we're sitting there rolling this product. I'll just call it an acrylic. Came from the blue and red and white store, and we're rolling. And I'm like, dude, there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be something that doesn't degrade, that'll bond to anything, doesn't need a profile, yada 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 yada. And I made my list, and that was my personal mission to find that and make that. And ultimately, the original of what we brought out was it was stellar, but it had its. I never intended on ballistics growing in epoxy, right? I
Right.
built it for polish. I wanted a grind and seal product that could also be used on polish, because there's so many areas of polish that are inappropriate, right? You shouldn't put polish in food prep areas and bathrooms and hospitals, and it's going to grow bacteria. It's a porous substrate, really, at the end of the day. Regardless of how tight you polish it, it's still receptive. So I wanted ballistics to do well in that side of the industry. The fact that it grew into epoxy was absolutely bizarre. We had a metallic. We had it was actually a marble wrap metallic. It was real pretty. Brandon Shiver actually had come down and installed it. And it was the satin highwear finish, and it had lap lines, and I didn't think it looked good. So I said, look, let's take our Squire and put it over top. And that day changed the world. Hey, look, not only could we put it right over this urethane, but we could fix the lap lines, and we could turn it to a gloss floor without having to take grinders to our floor. Like, what? So, with ballistics, we basically took like our last $5,000 out of our kids' college 529 account, and that was the only product we'd ever given away. And still to this day, the only product we've ever given away for free. And we took $5,000 worth of it, we dropped it in boxes, and we sent it out. And we just put a little note in there that said, if you like this, can you make a post for us? Let us know publicly what you think.
Right.
I mean, dude, that's a make or break. You have the opportunity at that point to decide whether or not this product enters the industry. And that's what brought ballistics to the forefront. Is we sent it out, people loved it, they put their responses out there, and then boom, it took off.